Hey y'all, Bridget Bartlett here, and today I am going to show you how to rebuild this website that I showed you how to create yesterday using Manus. Now, building in the HighLevel builder is really simple, and I'm going to show you exactly what to do to rebuild this website in a matter of minutes. Now, the first thing that we need to do, of course, is we need to go into the HighLevel account and we want to click here to create a new funnel. Now, I'm going to call this Manus because this is what we used, and create. I just want to make it easy for me to find. Now, the first step is creating the home page. So I'm just going to call this home, and let's add a path here. So /home and create funnel step. I'm going to go ahead and create from blank. And the first thing I like to do is drag in a full section here, and then I want to duplicate this. So now you'll see I have 3 sections. I'm going to make this a dark color, and I do have my brand colors here stored, so that makes it really easy. I want to make this a dark color too, and the reason that I do that is just so that I can tell the difference between the sections when I'm building. Now, this one here is going to be the header, and then we have the hero section here, and then we have the footer. Now, these do need to be global, so I'm going to call this the global header. And a global header is a header or a section that will update on every page within that funnel or website that you update it on. If this is added to another page, all I need to do is come in and update this section on one of the pages. And then when I update the website, it will update that section on all of the pages. So I also want to add this as my global footer here. Now, in this scenario, I only have one page, but I do like to go ahead and add those because if I did want to add additional pages, they're already in place, or I can just duplicate this and it's going to duplicate the global sections as well. So let's look at our funnel here. Let's go back up to the top. And you can see the basic structure. We have this header here, and it is a sticky header, which means that it doesn't scroll with the page. It just stays stuck to the top. So to replicate that on our website, we want to go here, we're going to click in the section, and you'll see down here stickiness. So we want to scroll to the top. We could choose to the bottom, but remember, we're replicating this website. So I'm going to choose scroll to the top, and let's go ahead and save. Now we do have my vision agency, the title of the business here, and then we have these 4 items here, and then we have a button. So I'm going to go ahead, go back here. Let's go ahead and add a column, and let's add the navigation menu. And you'll see here it has a white background, so let's make that background transparent. And let's make the text white so we can see it against that dark background. There we go. Now, if we want to change the menu items, what we want to do is go back up here and you'll see these menu items here. You'll see that team is under the about item. So if you did want to add additional pages. Now, if you're doing a lead magnet funnel like this one, you don't want to add a bunch of pages, and this is actually just a sticky header here. So when you click one of these, it's going to go to a section on the website rather than different pages. So if I did use this menu here and I go into this option, you'll see that we only have the ability to go to a website URL, go to a step in the funnel, or open a pop-up. So I actually don't want to use this navigation menu. What I want to use is buttons because I want the buttons to send it to a different section. So I'm going to go to add element. Let's go to rows. And you can see here we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows. So I'm going to go here to 6, drag that in. All right, let's just delete this. Now here we have the name. So I'm just going to add the name here, and let's make this text white. And we have my vision agency. I can stretch this out a little bit. I can also adjust the size here of the text. click in the box. And we can make this a little bit smaller. And you can click the down arrow and adjust that as well. We can also align this to the left. You'll see from our example, we have 4 options here and then a button. So I'm going to click here and add a button. Let's make this button transparent, but we can stretch this out a little bit so we can see it. Click in the field. Let's make it transparent. And let's add features. Okay, and then of course we want this to scroll to an element, but I'm just going to leave that blank for now because we actually haven't even created that section yet. Now, what I'm going to do is duplicate this a few times, but before I do that, I want to go to the mobile view before I duplicate anything, and I want to make sure that it actually looks all right here. All right, so we have the mobile view of this button, and it's just taking up the whole area, so that looks good. I may want to make the text a little bigger, but I can decide that when I go to edit the mobile view. I really don't want to spend too much time on the mobile view while I'm building the desktop. Then we'll go back and do the mobile view, and I'll show you some tips on that as well. So what I want to do is I'm just going to duplicate this whole thing here. All right, so we want to duplicate the purple section because that's going to duplicate everything in that area. So duplicate again, and then we can come back and just delete these extra sections that we've created. All right, so now we have the title here, we have the 4 different options, and then we have this button here. So we have features, we have community, AI tools. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to go down to the title of the button, community. Then we have AI tools. And then let's see what our other one was. We have the FAQs, and we have login, and then we have join our free community. So I'm going to go login. And then we need that extra section here. So I'm going to duplicate the purple section. And then we are going to add join our free community. All right. Now we are definitely going to be adjusting all of this, but I just want to right now focus on getting the content put in the sections. I'm basically building the skeleton, all right? And I typically do start at the top here. Definitely just ignore this. We can even make this smaller just to make it a little bit more user-friendly here because it's bugging my eyes here. So let's make this a little bit smaller. Okay, now let's go back and let's get into the meat of all of this. So we have a headline text here, we have a subheadline, and then we have some paragraph text, a button, and then more paragraph text, and then we have a section over here. So what we need to do is add a row, and we have 2 columns. You can see that here. Here's 1 column, here's 2 columns. So here I'm going to add some headline text, and then I'm going to click this button, and then we're going to add subheadline text. I'm going to click this button. We're going to add paragraph text, and then I'm going to click this little plus sign here. We're going to add a button, and then we're going to add more paragraph text. All right. And then now here, we're going to add an image or a video. We just have a placeholder in the website, so I'm just going to add an image. All right, so now we have our image placeholder. Now all of this, if we look at our template here, it's all aligned to the left. So let's go ahead and do that here. So I'm going to go click in the box, go align to the left. Let's click in the next box, align to the left, the next box, align to the left. We're going to align our button to the left as well. And we will align this text to the left. All right, so now we have that section there, and it is purple. Let's just go ahead and make it this color of purple. And let's change this to white. I'm going to click in the text box, scroll down, and we're going to choose white and white. We'll choose white for this as well. And we'll choose this white. And then, of course, our button is going to be orange. So we click in the button, we scroll up here, and we find this green color. We're going to make it our brand color. Okay, so now, of course, we're going to swap all this out with the text in our template here. And we can actually do that real quickly by copying. Come back here, hold down Control, click Shift, and then V, and then you will paste. We're going to go back here to our subheadline text, hold Control down, Shift, and then V. And then now we have that paragraph text. So let's go back here and we're going to copy and we're going to paste that there. And then let's go ahead and copy this as well. And we're going to paste that in the box. Okay, now of course we need to play with the alignment and all of that, but again, I just really want to get the structure down and then we can start playing with the rest. So you'll see here we have this kind of gray area. We have some headline text, we have some subheadline text, we have 4 boxes here, and then we have a button. So let's go here and we want to click this little green plus sign and that's going to add a new section. So let's just drag that in. And you saw that we had some subheadline text. So I'm going to go ahead and add this section here. We're going to grab that subheadline text element. We're going to grab some paragraph text here. And then we have, if we look at our guide, we have the 4 boxes. So I'm going to go click here to start a new section. And I'm going to add the 4 columns right below that. Now you can see here that the area back here is gray, and then we have these white boxes and they do move when you hover over them. So we're going to need some animations and things like that, but we'll do that after we get the skeleton built. So we have open office hours here. We have some text. We have an icon. So let's go back here now. And what I want to do is I want to add the headline text. And the reason that I do that is because I'm actually going to use this as an icon. So let's go back here. It really doesn't give us a good example of an icon for open office hours. So let's just delete all this. Let's go over to where we have our icons. And I'm going to say help. Let's choose community. What I'm looking for is an icon that will work with open office hours, maybe support, meeting. All right, so let's say we'll choose this one. And you can actually expand this, make it a little bit bigger. And we can even align it to the left like it showed in the picture. We'll add some subheadline text here, and then we'll also add some paragraph text. We look at our image here, okay? Now, before we duplicate this section, like I said, we want to check the mobile view, okay? It'll just make it so much easier for you in the end when you go to edit everything. Of course, we're going to jazz this up a lot. I just really want to get the format straight so that we can duplicate this section. Now here, you'll see when I highlight purple, this whole area, I actually want to give a border and I want to change this color on the inside to white. Here, let's choose a gray color for the background. Let's choose this. Actually, let's go to custom. Let's add a new color. We can actually click here and choose any of the colors. The difference is though, we can't click it and go to another page. So I do want to choose that exact color. So what I'm doing now is I'm just opening up a YouTube thumbnail. This is literally what I'd do if you guys weren't with me. And I would screenshot this. Let me open up my snipping tool and show you what I'm doing. I'm going to screenshot this area. Now this is just a workaround, okay? There are extensions that you can use that will help you choose the color, but they don't work very well, and so I don't often need this enough to have an extension. So what I want to do now is I've added this color here, and if I go to change the color background, you'll see that I can click here and click this little color picker, click that color, and then now it's given me that exact hex code that I want for my background. So I'm going to copy that hex code, and let's go back into our funnel, and I'm going to paste that here. So however you want to generate that hex code, totally up to you, but that's a little workaround tip. Hopefully that helps you. Okay, so now we can see our box much better, but what we need to do is add a little padding because it's too close to the edges. I like about 20, so let's add 20 on both sides. Let's add 20 on the top and the bottom. And you'll see when you add padding, this is for the outside. So the padding is the area between the edges and the content within this area here. If I was to adjust the margin, which I'm going to here, you'll see that it puts space between the sections. So I'm going to add 20 for the margin, and now you can see that we've added space in between these two areas. Let's try 10. Okay, that's a little bit closer. Actually, it does look like maybe it's 20 here. So let's go ahead and add 20. And now that looks pretty good. But let's add this text here because, again, I want to make sure that I'm getting a really good example before I start duplicating. So I'm going to paste that in there. And we want to put some space below open office hours. So I'm going to go down here. Let's add some margin. So what, maybe 10. That looks good. So now we want to make this bold. So I'm going to highlight that, make that bold. Okay, looks pretty good. Let's go back to our original version. Okay, let's add a little bit of space here as well between the icon and this. And I feel like we need a little bit more space at the bottom. So I'm going to add some more padding here. And let's say 20. Okay, now we need the border. So I'm going to click on advanced and make sure when you're editing each section that you're clicked on the right area. And if you're not sure, you can always click that little gear box and it'll make sure that you've chosen the right section. So I want to add a shadow here, and you can see that just by selecting the shadow that we have this like off-centered area here. So I want to click here, and I don't really want to make that off-centered like that. I just want it to be a shadow all the way around. So I'm going to change this to 0. And now you can see there it's not off-centered. It's basically a shadow all the way around. So let's look at our example here. The edges are rounded. So let's go back up here as well, click in the box and go to advanced. And now we have this border. So we want the full border, but I don't want it to be dark like that. I'm just going to make the border transparent. Now we want to add some radius. So let's see, we've added 5. Let's try 10. Does that look a little bit closer to that? I think so. So let's click outside the box. So here's the one that we've created, and here's the one that they created. It's skinnier a little bit probably, but I think this is okay. All right, so we could add more shadow if we wanted to. Maybe we want that blur to be a little bit more, so we could say 3. And of course, we'll add some animations later on. Let's check the mobile view, because again, before we start duplicating, and you can see the mobile view looks a little funky, but you'll also see when you go to adjust the padding, this is for the mobile view, and it will automatically switch when you have switched to the mobile view. And when you're in the desktop, it'll automatically be the desktop version. So you can have different padding for your mobile and for your desktop. So I want to make sure that I'm clicked inside here because I want to add that same padding here to the mobile view so that it looks clean. Okay, so it looks really good right there. I think that's good enough for us to duplicate. So I'm going to go back now, and I want to duplicate this 4 times. So we'll duplicate again, and we'll duplicate again. And now I want to delete these other sections. I originally just put the 4 sections in there because I know that's what I eventually want to put, and it gives me a good idea of the space when I'm building out this first section. I'm not going to do any adjustments to this. I just want to get the structure down. We have a button down here, so now I'm going to go add another section, and it's going to be our button. So I'm going to click here, and we're going to add a button. Now, typically, you'll see this button is the same as this button normally. They're different on this option here, but if we scroll down, you'll see that this button is used frequently, the Join Our Free Community. It's a little bit skinnier on the top and the bottom. So let's go ahead and create that. So we'll have this one is a little different, and then we'll create a custom version here. Now we can duplicate this button as well, and then drag it down there. So if you've already styled your button and all of that, certainly go ahead and just duplicate it. It'll save you a lot of time. So I'm going to go ahead and center this in the middle here. And our button does say, join our free community today. So I'm going to click in there, and let's say, join our free community today. All right, now the text is a little bit large, so let's go up here and let's make the text a little smaller. And let's round off the buttons. We'll go to border. We'll make the border transparent. And let's round off the edges a little bit. Okay. If we go back here, it looks pretty good. Now you'll see when we hover over it, there is an effect here that will change the color. So again, we'll worry about all of that when we've built the skeleton. Okay, so far we've gotten this menu here, we've gotten the hero section, we've gotten this section here. Now we start this bottom section and you'll see that it rotates. So what we want to do is create a new section. Click here. Let's drag in this new section here. And I want this to be the same background color. So I'm going to click here for the background. And we want to go to that color that we created. So it's a custom color. So I'm going to click there. And now we have this section here. So here in this area, we have a little, like a title here. We have some headline text, some paragraph text, and then another button. So I'm going to go back. Let's add a row, and that's 2 columns. So I'm going to click here. Now we have an image, so I'm going to go ahead and put an image placeholder here. And I'm going to click in the elements, and let's go ahead and use a subheadline. That's for that little button here, speed. So let's go ahead and call it speed so we get a good idea of the size that we need for this. And we can align that to the left. And then we have double your speed to lead. So I'm going to click the plus sign. Let's add some subheadline text. And I'm going to paste this in here. Let's align it to the left and let's make this bold. Let's go ahead and click here, add some paragraph text, align this to the left. Let's copy what it said here. And we'll paste this into the box. And now we need a button. And the button is pretty similar to this one. So let's just go ahead and duplicate this button. And let's add this here, but it needs to be aligned to the left. And we definitely want to make this a little bit smaller. So let's go up here and make this small, and we can go to the advanced. Yeah, we want to go to advanced and create a full border, but we want the border to be transparent. We want to adjust the radius because it's pretty long, but we do want the background color to be that orange color. So that's shaping up there, but we do need to adjust the padding to get the look that we're going for. So I'm going to add 10 on each side. And let's go back to the advanced. And I don't see an option that allows us to adjust that there. So what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down here and let's adjust the margin. See what happens when we put 200 in here. All right, here we go. So now I need to put, all right. So now you'll see we've gotten the look that we're going for here with this speed. Now I know when I go back to the mobile view, it's going to be all crazy looking, but that's okay because we have the padding. See how it changed to the mobile view because we switched over there. So I'm going to change this to 0. And now you can adjust it for whatever you need here. So let's try 200. Let's try 300. Okay, so that was a little bit too much. Let's try 250. All right, 275. All right, looks pretty good. Maybe 280 though would be perfect. All right, so now if we go back here, we want to add some space here. So I'm going to click here. We're going to add some margin at the bottom. And let's click here and add some margin at the bottom as well. And we're going to click here. Let's go ahead and add that margin as well. We'll put 20 there. All right, now this button does not say today. It does make it a little long, so I'm going to go ahead and just remove that as well. Now this button is going to be to scroll to an element. So I'm going to go ahead and select that option there. Now we've done a lot of work so far, so I want to go ahead and save. So if we go back to our original funnel here, you'll see that so far we've built all of those sections, and now we need to build these sections, which are really just a rotation of the same section here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate. We're going to make this background white because that's what the template did. And we just want to click here and rotate these two areas and switch. So now they have rotated, okay? Now what I want to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to duplicate this, and then I just want to move this down. I want to duplicate this section again, and then I want to move this down. So now you'll see we're rotating. If I go back up here, you'll see we have the image on the right with a gray background, image on the left with a white background, image on the right with a gray background, image on the left with a white background. Okay, so that's what we have here as well. Now this next section here is basically a replica of this section that we created up here. It's just 3 instead of 4, and there's 2 rows. So let's go up here and let's take this section and duplicate it, and let's move it down, which we can drag it down if we want to, even though I think it's a lot of times easier just to use the arrows. So let's move it down here. Especially if you're moving it down like a majority of the page, I feel like it's just easier to do it this way. All right, so now we have this section here. Let's go ahead and just use this text so that we're staying in line where we're at. I'm going to add this text here. We don't need this paragraph text, and we don't need this section here. But you'll see that it is the same style, right? So we have the icon, we have the title, we have the paragraph text. Okay. The only difference is this is a white background here, and these are actually the gray color that we did have as the background in the last section. So let's just change this. Go to the background color. We're going to choose that custom color that we created here. And we're going to choose this here. All right, so now we've done all of that. Let's go ahead and duplicate that whole section. So now you'll see we have 2 rows of 3, just like this area here. All right, so now we have the next section down here. So we have the title, we have some paragraph text, and then we have 1, 2, 3 rows like this. So let's go ahead and create that together. So I'm going to click here to add a new full width section. And I'm going to click here to add a new row. And let's see, we have the subtitle area. So I'm going to click here. Let's add some subheadline. And let's click here. We have this headline here. So let's just duplicate. And then we have all of this text, this paragraph text. I'm going to click here. Right. And we're going to just paste all of that there. Now, it does all need to be aligned to the left. So I want to click here in the box. Let's align this to the left, and to the left there. All right. So now you'll see this whole section here. I actually need to duplicate this because we don't have an image. So I duplicated the section to add a new box, but I need to delete all these things and then add my image placeholder. So I'm going to drag that in. This obviously needs to be a lot smaller. Okay. And this needs to be bold. And let's go ahead and add some space here, because again, we're going to duplicate this and we want to make sure that obviously we'll have to make adjustments. That's the name of the game, right? But we want to make those adjustments as limited as possible. So when we create this first section, it'll save us so much time. All right, so you can see this area here, we do have some space. We have the title here, and then we have space there. So I want to add a little bit more space. We added 10, but let's do 20, and let's do 20 here as well. All right. Now we have this whole section here. So if we click in the box, now you'll see that we want to adjust the padding. So I want to add 20 here, and let's do the same to the other side. So we have 20. Let's go ahead and make sure that 20 is at the top as well, and then 20 at the bottom. And you'll see in this here that the background is gray, and then we have these rounded edges and a little bit of shadow in the back. So we're clicked in the box. Let's go to advanced. Let's go to the box shadow. And again, I don't want this to be offset, so I'm going to set this to 0. And let's adjust the blur a little bit so that it spreads out just a little bit more. And we can also change the border here. Let's make that transparent, and let's change the edges here to be a 10. Is that what we changed it here? Let's check and see. I went to advanced and the border was 10. Yeah, so let's try to be consistent there, and let's make this area 10 as well. Now, I feel like there needs to be more space because you see this whole section here. You can see the space is limited between the two sections, but that space will actually double when we duplicate it. So I'm going to go to the mobile view again, and I want to check out this section and just make sure that it's what I want before I duplicate. So you can see we definitely want to add some more padding here to the mobile view, and we are in the mobile. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to 20 just to make it a little bit cleaner here. And that looks pretty good. So let's go back to the desktop view. And now what I want to do is just duplicate this entire section. I want to duplicate that 4 times because that's what we had in our template here. You can see they're all the same. Now you'll also see though that the background is gray. So before we duplicated that, we should have changed the background, but that's okay. Let's just click in here. Let's go to our default color and change that. But of course, actually, let's just practice what I preach, right? So let's just duplicate those, and let's change the background color of this to white. And now you'll see the background is changed and this is changed. Now we can duplicate that 4 times. And then we don't have to change all of those every time. All right. So now we have those 4 sections there, and you'll see now we have frequently asked questions. So I'm going to copy this. Let's add a new section, and I'm going to click here. We're going to add a new column here, which is just 1 column, and it's going to be the text. Let's add a subheadline actually. Subheadline. And let's go ahead and paste that in. Frequently asked questions. Let's make that bold. And let's click here and add an FAQ section. So you'll see that here. We're going to drag that in. And now you can see the FAQs that are already created here. So let's start from here because we didn't add our paragraph text. So I'm going to click here, go up to the top, add the paragraph text. We're going to Control V to paste. Definitely want to make that bigger. And what I'll do, of course, when I finalize the website, I want to go back through and make sure that everything, like all the paragraph text is the same size, all of the subheadline text is the same size, and all of that. But just for me, I feel like it just helps to get everything on the page. And then I can go back and fine tune everything and make sure it's exactly what I want. I want to add some space down here, like 20. And you'll see that in this FAQ, they're actually separated. Each of the sections are separated. So I want to choose that here because that gives me that exact look that we're going for. And you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 FAQs. So what we want to do is duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. Now we have those 6 FAQs. Now you'll see another button here. So let's go and add another button. Let's just duplicate this one. And let's drag this down all the way down to the bottom. And we can put that there. And then, of course, we have our footer here. There's definitely some space there. And then the footer, we can highlight this text, but you can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, but we might want to add 2 blank sections here just for spacing. All right, so I'm going to click here and add 6 columns. All right, and then this one, we have some text, which is going to be, and honestly, instead of the name, I would add the logo, but I just want to show you guys really how to create what that website template created. So whatever scenario you're going for, you have the knowledge and skills you need to do that. You can see this is actually another like maybe paragraph text. So let's delete this. And let's click here and add some paragraph text. And we want this to be white so we can see it. Oops. We'll just highlight this and Control V to paste. And this needs to be white. So we're going to click here and make it white. All right. And that, of course, will be aligned to the left. And this will be aligned to the left. All right, now we have these 2 blank areas, and then we have features in bold, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sections underneath it. So I'm going to click, actually, let's just duplicate. Let's make this bold because it needs to be bold anyway. And then we can duplicate this, move it over here, and Control V to paste. Now we have our features. I'm actually going to copy this, roll that over as well. And then we have speed to lead, and we can duplicate. And we have calendar, and we'll duplicate. And then we have phone calls, paste. And then we have one more, which is smart nurture. Okay, actually I did that one too many times. All right, so now what I want to do, once I've gotten this all perfect, I want to go ahead and make sure to duplicate this whole section. So click the purple box, and then of course we want to remove these here. Okay, so now what we want to do is go ahead and fill in all of the copy that was created in our website. But of course, let's go ahead and save, and let's look at the live preview here. So this was the original website that we created with Manus, okay? And this is the copy that we are working on right now. So you can see it's very similar. Let me put these next to each other. So this is the original copy of the website here. And this is the copy of the website that we are working on. Obviously, like I said, we need to adjust that, but you can see we're moving right along very quickly. We were able to replicate that in HighLevel. Now it's just a matter of making it pretty and copying and pasting the copy that's already written for us here in the template that we created with Manus. So I hope you guys enjoyed that training. We will finish this up tomorrow, hopefully, because I want to show you the mobile view and how you can make all of those adjustments. I would also like to show you how you can create some CSS effects and things like that using Manus as well. But if you have any questions at all, if you're in our reseller program, you can go to our community tab here in the dashboard. You want to go to the events calendar. You can click on today's date to join me in open office hours here. If you're in our free community, you'll want to go to that event calendar, and you can also join us in open office hours. If you're not a reseller or a member of our free community, you can go to myvisionagency.com. You can sign up to join here. You can also sign up for HighLevel and get a free membership inside of our reseller program. Or if you're a current HighLevel customer and you want to sign up for our reseller program, you can do that there. We also have some other options as well that you can check out. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I will see you in open office hours. Go make your vision a reality.